Hello everyone, Agent of Doubt here. Time for another ramble. I gave this one considerable amount of my thought over the last couple months, and I hope you enjoy it. So, about 8 months ago, a YouTuber named Memology101, he included snippets of my videos in his series. It was a 12-part series called Why YouTubers Are Depressed. And I felt like it was a very good illustration of how YouTubers were bringing up the subject of depression in a very contrived way, and then using that to segue into shilling for a psychotherapy company called BetterHelp, which delivers its services through online mediums. So, about a year before he made that video, Shane Dawson made a video of the same title, Why YouTubers Are Depressed. And a lot of large YouTubers like Shane Dawson were involved in this shilling of BetterHelp. But I felt like Shane Dawson kicked it off initially by his video, and he got, almost 2 million views on it. And yeah, a lot of different big YouTubers jumped on this bandwagon, this opportunity to make some money through referrals from BetterHelp paying them. And I talked about the unethical nature of paying somebody who you've given psychotherapy services to for anything, because it's a dual relationship. And Memology101 picked up on that. I even sent an email to the CEO of BetterHelp, and yeah, I only got one response because my second email, I guess, drove the point home too much. So, I gave this some thought because, there are some contrived videos about depression on YouTube from people who got that free session from BetterHelp to try it out, and I was wondering, is there, among the people who made those videos shilling for BetterHelp and the people who made videos where they were depressed and talking about it on YouTube and weren't shilling for BetterHelp, they just wanted to talk to, their audience as their therapist, was there some similarity between all of them that would actually get to the core of why YouTubers are depressed? So I thought about it using a few different modalities about psychotherapy that I'm familiar with, but the one that I felt fit the most, the perspective through which to view this problem that brings the most results, is behaviorism. So in that, I'm mostly looking at the reward structure of YouTube, be it money or views or up thumbs or comments, right? And the first thing of the three things that stand out to me as to why YouTubers would be depressed is the structure of the comments and rating system here on YouTube. The comments for all of the different social media, comments on YouTube are notoriously the meanest. Okay? It's been described as a cesspool by numerous content creators, and part of that is really welcomed by a certain niche here on YouTube as being honesty, honesty being the best policy, and people who are trying to debate certain issues. But part of it really is the trolls thrive here on YouTube. And also the rating system here on YouTube, containing a down thumb, is very unique in that other rival social media platforms do not have any sort of negative feedback for a rating. If you look at YouTube's up thumb and how it recently evolved into being able to differentiate between, am I up thumbing for I'm sad with you, am I up thumbing with I'm angry with you, or I'm up thumbing because I love you, I'm up thumbing because I'm laughing out loud. All of those are all positive reinforcers. There is no down thumb on Facebook. There is no down thumb on Twitter. In social media, negative ratings is rare these days because the companies do not want you to have a negative experience. They want you to be addicted to their product as much as possible. So they've done away with the negative reinforcers. So that would be a really big reason why YouTubers in particular, over different forms of social media, would be depressed. It's because of the existence of the negative ratings and the negative comments. The second reason why I think behaviorism illuminates something that would make YouTubers more depressed is that people are left in the dark as to the changes on YouTube, particularly with the algorithm and their content. And so they'll put up content that used to be rewarded with so many thousands of views and subscribers, and then when it stops getting that sort of reaction because of some change within YouTube's algorithm, people feel like they were deserving of the initial amount of reward they were getting, the views, the comments, and everything. And then they stop getting as much. And they start scratching their head as to, well, why is that? And they don't know. And the cognitive dissonance that it creates is linked to the novel behavior that they're going to be trying. They're going to first they're going to look at other YouTubers' videos explaining what changes the algorithm might have had, where that's a very poor source of information because there's a lot of misinformation about how to run your YouTube channel out there. There's a lot of YouTube channels about how to run your YouTube channel that just prey on this horrible feeling that people have when they're getting views and comments and likes, and then one day they're not. People feel entitled to the regularly growing amount of views and likes, and when they start stalling out or when they start declining and there's no good explanation why, it makes people particularly upset. So that's the second structural thing about this experience of being a YouTuber that I noticed through that behaviorism lens that would really cause a lot of depression, regardless of the differences of people on YouTube, because people bring their own depressions. Shane Dawson in his original video postulated that YouTubers themselves are probably more likely to be depressed just by being the strange person in the family that picked up the camera, right? And I'm paraphrasing. I don't really believe that is a good explanation for all of the depressed videos that we've seen on YouTube of people talking about why they're depressed. But it could be for some. But there are many, many different people that pick up a camera because they are empowered and they don't have any hang-ups about being seen, and they are social people, and social media is just an extension of how social they actually are in person, and that isn't their problem. So when I look at the algorithm changes and how it applies to all of these YouTubers, that's something that's constant. You know, it's not something that happened before someone became a YouTuber. It's now being applied to them. The third thing I will say is structural to YouTube, and really would apply to anyone on here, would be a disconnection from in-person interaction. And that does go back to the comments being hateful, because when people are not held accountable for their own speech because they have anonymous accounts, they tend to be a little bit more aggressive in their commenting and not worry about whether there's going to be any social ramifications upon them in their own personal life. But also, it's just not even with anonymous accounts. People are flat when they're making their comments on YouTube. It's really hard to read what their actual emotions were, because it's disconnected from their voice and their visage. And unless you're making a video back and forth with people, you're missing out on a lot of the communication that would happen between people in an in-person interaction. Some scientists say that up to 90% of communication is actually nonverbal. And when you're only limited to the comments themselves, and you're even at best limited to a video back and forth interaction where this camera is in the way, you are gimping your own ability to read other people and understand them and feel like they understand you. So this disconnection that technology brings to us, that is endemic of all social media, I feel like that's another reason why YouTubers would be depressed. And ironically, those people who were shilling for BetterHelp as a method of addressing people's depression when they are YouTubers, they were promoting a product which also is limited in its ability to really care for people, because it is through electronic medium. It's not an in-person interaction. And so there's a lot of information that both parties are going to be missing out on. Even in video chats with telehelp, there is a limitation to being able to read a person. This is a two-dimensional flat screen version of what you would be seeing in 3D. You're not going to see my leg bouncing up and down, even if it's doing it right now. It is, but the rest of my body really isn't moving. You can't tell that I might have some agitation there. It really does affect the way that you interact with other people. And I don't think I have to prove that at all. It's well documented, but to promote a service to people that's going to help them deal with their depression, that might be because they're using services that are using the same technology, and what they really need is to get out and interact with in-person people, in their real life, or maybe see a flesh and blood real life therapist that can personally be there in their personal space bubble and help them through their problems. That is kind of ironic in a way that I don't feel was really illustrated by all of this, and so maybe what people really need is just to make sure they're getting their daily dose of other people, coffee first, then you need a healthy diet of meeting other people in your regular life. Human beings are social animals. I said it here. I wasn't the first one, but I said it here. Okay? Human beings are social animals.